People who actually ended another human being? What was it like? This will get buried, given the number of responses already, but it'll be nice to get it off my chest regardless. I work as a paramedic. Earlier this year, my partner and I were called to a house for a lady having chest pains. We rolled up, and as usual, he and I are joking and laughing, because that's how we are. We get inside, say hi to the fireman already on scene, and meet this very nice lady. We'll call her Sharon for our purposes, but that's not her real name due to HIPAA and all that. Sharon tells us that she's having some burning chest pain just below her sternum. I started asking questions as my partner started attaching the cardiac monitor and 12 lead cables to look at her heart rhythm. She tells me that she's had a previous heart attack, but that this didn't feel anything like that, and that she had a stent placed because of this, but that both those things were over a decade previous. She's about 70. Other than that, she tells me she takes no daily medications, beyond vitamins, and is generally healthy. She tells me that she did take a nitro pill when the pain started, but that didn't do much, if anything. For the pain. The firemen find the bottle and tell me the meds are over a year expired and nearly full, so this isn't something she's taking a lot. All in all, I'm thinking it's something like acid reflux or GERD, because she's told me that she was eating while this pain came on. Anyway, while we're working, her little dog keeps coming up and licking, barking at us. As we're not too terribly concerned about the situation, it's our job to be the calmest people in the room. We're making small talk and petting the dog while I'm getting a set of vital signs. My partner is having trouble getting the leads to stick on her, but finally manages to get a decent tracing of her heart. Her rhythm on the monitor looks perfectly fine. Normal sinus rate between 70 and 75 for those in the know. But then he looks at the 12 lead. A 12 lead, those stickers that go over the chest and around the side, takes a closer electrical view of the heart and can tell if there's electrical disruption, which is mostly caused by dead or dying tissue from a blockage in the heart, a myocardial infarction or MI, also known as a heart attack. He pauses, blinks a couple times, and hands it to me. I see a major T attack, blockage in the lower right side of her heart, with other indicators telling me that this is active right now and very, very bad. I switch with my partner, telling him to get vitals, while I transmit the 12 lead to the hospital ER so the cardiologist can see it and give them a call for treatment options. I talk with the doctor. We decide to go with the normal treatment route, i.e. aspirin and nitro with 2 really big IVs in place and a hell of a lot of diesel fuel to get her to the hospital as fast as possible. By now my partner has come back and told me that her blood pressure is 74/32, so too low for nitro to be given. So I have her lay down, put an IV in her, start fluid, and have the fireman go get the portable stretcher, because she isn't going to be walking. Keep in mind, we've only been there about 12 minutes at this point by the time we're talking her to the ambulance. All told, we spent less than 15 minutes on the scene. We got her to the ambulance, I thanked the fireman, and they turned to leave. We start heading to the hospital. I rechecked her BP and found that it's now 130s and 80s, perfect for nitro, and gave her 1 spray of nitro under her tongue. 2 to the 3 seconds later, the very nice lady Sharon has a seizure. Her heart rate tanks, dipping down to 20 BPM. She quits breathing, and I find no pulses in her wrists. My partner slams on the brakes and flags down the fireman while I grab a BVM and start breathing for her. One of the firemen takes over that while the other begins prepping a second IV line. I cut off her clothes and slap the defib patches on her chest in case it gets worse. While I'm doing that, she grabs my hand and squeezes. She can't respond verbally, but the seizure has stopped. Her heart rate has come up to around 50, but radial pulses are still absent. I put in a second, much larger, 14-gauge IV and started filling her with fluid. My monitor is spitting out 12 lead after 12 lead, screaming at me that something has changed. No shit, Mr. Computer. And I keep sending those to the hospital. By the time we get there, she's completely unresponsive, but breathing on her own. Radial pulses are faint but her heart rate keeps falling. We scoot our asses into the ER and move her onto their bed. I tell what happened to 3 ER docs and 2 cardiologists, just as she goes into cardiac arrest. They worked her until the family arrived, who decided to cease efforts. I told my supervisor we were out of service and he understood. One of the cardiologists pulled me aside to chat, asking to see all my 12 lead paperwork. In a complete fluke, the nitro caused the clot to move, stunning her left ventricle when it got stuck on, ironically, the stent that had been placed 10 years earlier. He told me there was nothing I could have done, that they would have done the same thing there, that there was nothing more I could do. But to this day, I have a ghost on my shoulder. She isn't mad. She knows I did all I could, that the cards were just stacked against her, and sometimes it really is a zebra making those hoofbeats. But there's a ghost on my shoulder. Her name is Sharon, and she had a little dog, and I killed her.